Hello and welcome to another math video. Today we're taking a look at our FST quiz for 2.3 and 2.4. 2.3 is focusing on word problems, so that's where we will begin. So we've got a rectangular Persian carpet, has a perimeter of 240 inches. The length of the carpet is 26 inches more than the width. So and they want the dimensions of the carpet. So we'll use our formula, P equals 2L plus 2W for the perimeter of a rectangle. We know that, again, the length is 26 inches more than the width, so the width plus 26. And of course we know the perimeter is 240, so replace the perimeter with 240, replace the length with the width plus 26, and then we get our equation that we can solve. And so distributing the 2, we get 240 equals 2W plus 52 plus another 2W. So that's going to be 240 equals 4W plus 52. So of course we subtract the 52 from both sides of that equation. And that will end up giving us 188 equals 4W. And so then we just divide the 188 by 4, or both sides by 4 really. We get 47 equals W. So it appears that the width will be 47 inches, but they want both of the dimensions, so we use our formula for the length in order to find that. So we plug the width in of 47, so we get the length equals 47 plus 26, and so we add those together, we get the length of 73. Now when we add the length and width together, we should get 120 inches, which we do. And the reason I say 120 is because that's half of 240. Alright, for number 2, we've got two candidates. Got 2,084 votes. The loser received 628 fewer votes than the winner. So we know the winner plus the loser votes will equal 2,084, and the loser received 628 fewer votes than the winner, so the loser equals the winner minus 628. So we can replace the loser with the winner minus 628, so winner plus the winner minus 628 equals the 2,084. So on the left hand side, of course, we will combine our like terms. We get 2W minus the 628 equals the 2,084. Add the 628 to both sides, we get 2W equals 2,712. Divide that by 2 in order to get the number of votes that the winner received. Is 1,356 votes. Again, I'm not going to be too concerned with units, but they are word problems. We really should have those. And again, they just wanted the winner votes. Of course, no one really cares how many votes the loser got. So. Alright, so here we've got Walt, made an extra $9,000 last year from a part-time job, invested some of the money at 10%, the rest at 7%, made a total of $780 in interest. They're just curious how much he invested at 7%. Of course, we can find both, just about either one just as easily as the other. I'm going to go ahead and make a table, so I'm going to pause so you don't have to watch that whole thing. Alright, so I've got that made up, so we'll go ahead and we'll fill this in. Let's see, so he invested part of the money at 10%. I'm just going to have that 10% be A, and again we can keep track of that by the way the row is set up. So the interest there would be 0.1 times A. Of the rest be B, which is 7% interest, so 0.7 B. A plus B total had to be $9,000. We're not worried about what the average interest rate was, and we know the total interest was $780. So that really gives us two equations, one of which is A plus B equals 9,000, the other one being 10% of A plus 7% of B equals 780. Again, with these, I don't usually mind dealing with the decimals. You could obviously multiply by 100 to get rid of those. They are interested in the 7%, that is B. So if I solve this first equation for A, then when I substitute that back into the second equation, I'll have an equation with just B's in there. So the 9,000 minus B will replace the A. So I got 10% of 9,000 minus B plus 7% of B equals 780. Distribute the 10%, we get 900 minus 10% of B plus 7% of B equals 780. Combining the B's on the left-hand side, again, you could get rid of the decimals by multiplying by 100. And this, or you, again, just make sure you get the right answer there. We do end up with 900 minus 0.03 B equals 780, and from there we would subtract 900 from both sides, so we do end up with a negative on the right side as well, because we have a negative 0.03 B equals negative 120. So it works out just fine, because then when we divide the negative by a negative, we end up with 4,000 for B. And again, it was a total of 9,000, so the other one would have to be $5,000. But we found the one that we wanted, because we were looking for the 7% investment. So $4,000 was invested at the 7%. For number 4, again, we've got the chemistry class mixing some stuff. We got 5 liters of 4% silver iodide solution. Going to mix that with a 10% solution. We want to get a 6% solution. How many liters of the 10% solution are needed? So again, I'm going to make a table so we can lay out that information. Alright, so here's what this table will look like. We've got the liters on the left. We know we have 5 liters of a 4% strong solution. So actual silver there would be 4% of 5. We don't know how much of the 10% solution we'll use. So we don't know how much silver that will provide. We then don't really know the total, so that'll be x plus 5. We want that to be a 6% solution. And so whatever 6%, whoops, not 0.6, 0.06, whatever 6% of x plus 5 is, that'll be the actual amount of silver. Let's see, so for our equation, 0.04 times 5 plus 0.10x equals 0.06 times x plus 5. Again, up to you if you want to get rid of the decimals by multiplying by 100. I think I do want to do that. So multiply both sides of the equation by 100. And so I get 4 times 5 plus 10x equals 6 times x plus 5. When I do that, it makes it a bit easier to deal with. So I get 20 plus 10x equals 6x plus 30. And from there, I would probably subtract the 6x I want to move that up here, so I've got 20 plus 4x equals 30. Subtract the 20 from both sides then. So I get 4x equals 10. Divide by the 4, I get x equals 10 fourths. So 5 halves. So x ends up being 2.5. So really, to answer the question, 2.5 liters of the 10% solution would be added. Again, you can check that without too much trouble. That would give us 7.5 liters. 6% of 7.5 is 0.45 liters. If we look here, this would be 0.2 liters, and 10% would be 0.25 liters of actual silver. So that does end up to be a 0.45. So it does check out that adding 2.5 liters of the 10% would make that what we wanted it to be. For 5, 6, 7, and 8, just want to make sure that we are giving the answer both in interval form and graph form. So again, that interval notation, what we're looking for. So for number 5, I would have to distribute the negative 5. I get a negative 10z plus 25 is less than negative 15z minus 15. Then I'm ready to start doing operations to both sides. I would choose to add the 15z, because that z then becomes positive, which I really want. Subtract the 25, and we end up with 5z is less than negative 40. Divide by 5, we get z is less than negative 8. So again, I've got my number line up here. I'm just going to put negative 8 in the middle. So z being less than negative 8, again, remember we'll use that parenthesis and then go that direction off to the left. In interval notation, less than negative 8, so no minimum, so go just down to negative infinity and up to negative 8. Again, parenthesis there on the negative 8. For number 6, we do, so in order to get rid of these fractions, I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 45. I'm going to kind of just do my notation here. So multiplying by 45, again, easiest way to kind of keep track of that is the 45 multiplies the numerator, and so the 45 multiplies the 38, then it's divided by the 5, and I guess negative out there on that. The thing is, the 45 will actually reduce with both the negative 9 and the 5. 45 divided by negative 9 would be negative 5, so we're left with a negative 5 multiplying the 5x minus 7. And the 45 divided by 5 would be 9, so I'm just going to leave that as a negative 9 times the 38. So that 38 is still a bit of a weird number, but multiplying by 9 gives us 342. And don't forget my negative sign. Distributing the negative 5 on the left, I get negative 25x plus 35. In this case, I'm just going to subtract the 35 from both sides. And so I get negative 377. So I've got negative 25x less than negative 377. So last thing I'll do is divide both sides by the negative 25. Now when I do that, again what I'm trying to get the point here is that we have to remember to flip that inequality. So if you don't remember to do that, then it doesn't work out so well. Let's see, so that division actually works out surprisingly well. So 25ths ends up x is greater than 15.08. Now, again, if you know me, you've heard me talk about decimals and approximations. This is an exact answer. 377 over 25 is exactly 15.08. So if I put 15 on my number line, 15.08, I mean, it's really tough to show how close that needs to be, but I'll do my best. 15 is there, so greater than 15.08 would go this way. Again, try to show with my parenthesis going that way. In interval notation, 15.08 is the minimum, and then it goes up to infinity. So again, interval notation and the graph, what we're looking for there. So 7 is an example of a three-part inequality. So on the left part we have -6, in the middle we've got 2z plus 2, and on the right we've got 2. Notice that from left to right the inequality makes sense. -6, if we jump from left to right, -6 is less than 2, so that makes sense, otherwise we'd have an issue. So to go about this one, we would want to subtract 2 from here, so we subtract that from the left and the right as well. So we get -8 less than 2z less than 0. There we would divide by 2. Again, I can kind of sneak that in there because I'm dividing by a positive. So again, since the 2 is positive, I don't have to flip the inequality. Doesn't matter that we're dividing a -8 here. What matters is that it is a positive 2 that's doing the dividing. Let's see, so we end up with -4 less than z less than 0. Remember, 0 divided by 2 is still just 0. We already have the numbers on here, so it goes really from the -4 to 0, and it's all the stuff in between. Interval notation then looks a lot like an ordered pair, so again, should understand from the context that that's interval notation. Then we have another three-part inequality for our last question. Notice we have that -4b in the middle. There's not much we can do to avoid dividing by that negative. So we'll start with subtracting 3, which again, oddly enough, gives us 0 again on the left side here, and then 16 on the right. So when I divide by that -4, it will flip the direction. So if I have the 0 divided by -4, now that's a greater than. -4b divided by the -4, now this is a greater than. 16 divided by -4. So we end up with 0 greater than b greater than -4. So you can work with that. I would suggest flipping the whole thing over. So -4 is less than b is less than 0. Again, that's a little bit easier to look at. And then surprisingly, or sorry, less than or equal to. I lost my equal to, should be on here. So then it's there. Okay. So -4 gets a bracket, 0 gets a parenthesis, and it's the stuff in between. So in our interval notation, -4 to 0. Kind of weird because the other one was -4 and 0 as well. Well, thank you for watching, and hopefully you found this to be helpful.